Ekurhuleni Executive Mayor has announced 2 MMCs to strengthen service delivery. MMC Mabekenyane Thamahane takes over human settlements, with Charlotte Zitha taking charge of health and social development. For some clarity on these appointments, we are now joined by Nkululeko Dunga, chairperson of Gauteng EFF. Very good evening to you. Thank you so much for your time this evening. Talk to us about your views on the new additions to Ekurhuleni.
No, thank you very much for having us this evening. Let us also apologize for the picture. We're experiencing load shedding of a special kind here where I'm situated. I'm currently in Boksburg in Sunwood, and we've got electricity challenges. As the EFF in Gauteng, and particularly the caucus of the EFF in Ekurhuleni, we can merely just note the augmentation and the changes of the executive by the mayor of Ekurhuleni. It's actually extremely disappointing, more particularly because we've always raised issues of non-service delivery, particularly in our township areas. More especially when it comes to waste collection, into the infrastructure of sewage, where we have seen a lot, predominantly in the Katlehong, Katoras area, where there's continuous sewage spillages, meaning that the infrastructure of sewage is either can no longer carry out the entire communities, or it must be changed. We have seen the water infrastructure collapsed, literally collapsed in the Watema area. And we've raised these concerns with the city, particularly the mayor and her executive. Until to date, some of these matters have not been resolved. In actual fact, there's not a single one of them that has been resolved. Their focus has been predominantly to focus more especially to their wide constituency in affluent areas, where when you are to go to your suburban areas, you'd find that there's a lot of service delivery undertaken there, including the patching of potholes, by the way. I once took a walk with the mayor. She had a outreach program just of recently. And when we took the walk, I could literally count the number of potholes that we had to bypass as we were taking the walk. And it was a walk on substance abuse, but we went past 27 potholes, by the way, on that particular road. So it tells you of dilapidated infrastructure that has not been corrected. Now, we understand that the changing currently right now is just to exercise patronage, even herself, through her own coalition partners, and has nothing to do with effective governance. When she introduced the Patriotic Alliance as part of her executive and part of the coalition, we outlined our dissatisfaction as the EFF, particularly to the appointment of the 2 individuals. One of them, in actual fact, who was heading health and social services, was actually not even a citizen of Ekurhuleni. She was brought in and parachuted all the way from the city of Joburg, meaning that she has no basic understanding of the challenges that are faced by the people of Ekurhuleni and cannot correct them. Even most bizarre was even the appointment of the special advisor, or the strategic advisor, in her office as well, Ubongi Kanyile, who also comes from, I think, KZN, if I'm not mistaken. No basic understanding, and therefore cannot in the immediate try and correct or even advise in the correction of some of the challenges that are faced by Ekurhuleni. Now, she did that because obviously there's an aggrievement even from Action SA in that they lost a MMC position, and they've been crying foul because it's an organization that's embedded in self-gratification and positions, Action SA that is. So she had to correct it and sort of try and put them into confidence and form part of it, so that ultimately they do not try and move away from her coalition and the partnership that they've had with her, and has nothing, absolutely nothing to do with service delivery.
You make mention of coalition cracks seemingly starting to appear there in Ekurhuleni. the ANC managed to snatch Johannesburg from the DA. It's now believed that the ANC could possibly be in talks with the EFF when it comes to Ekurhuleni. Can you confirm that?
Well, it's an open secret that we've had an engagement with the leadership of the ANC in the province. We announced it as the EFF, so it's nothing untoward. And the perception created as to say that they are clandestine or shadow conversations is nothing but inaccurate submission to society. We've had engagements with the ANC, and part of our engagements was to outline and sort of have a common understanding in terms of economic development, so as to equate to economic freedom in our lifetime, particularly for the society and communities of Ekurhuleni and in Gauteng predominantly. And it was also to speak on the stability of governance in general across, because a conversation outside of a political organization such as the ANC, which unfortunately still commands the highest number of voter representation through at least the electorate, it will be incorrect not to have a conversation with them, understanding that they do represent society in majority, although it's a minority because it is below 50%. So yes, we are having an engagement with them, but we have no agreements with the ANC. And what actually transpired in the city of Johannesburg was that, let us be honest and let us be fair, the EFF at all material conditions has always ensured that there must be stability of governance, and a government must be instituted to offer service and services to the destitute. And that is why we took a decision to actually form part of a political organization that will establish governance. But at all times, the DA kept on persisting, insulting the EFF and its leadership, kept on insulting even the ideological perspective of the EFF.
Okay, Mr. Dunga, thank you so much for your time. Unfortunately, we're going to have to cut our conversation short, but thank you for joining us this evening. Gauteng EFF chairperson Nkululeko Dunga.